My name is Alma Chavez. I'm the mother of Rafael Olivas, gunned down by Metro July 14, 2011. I want to speak about the terrible experience that I had that day when I trusted the system and called 911 requesting for the CIT team, the crisis intervention team, to come and help me to control my son who was having an emotional day. He was sick, going through so much stress after he lost his full-time job. He was working only part-time. He was diagnosed with ulcer colitis. One of my other kids was in the hospital. I lost the house. So we really were going through so much stress at the time. I trusted the system when I called 911 because I worked for the system, and the place that I was working at the time had that mental health clinic next to my building. And one of the co-workers from over there advised me to call the CAT. Um, I didn't want to call regular police because my son was a good boy. He didn't have any criminal records, and I just needed, help. And that coworker explained to me that CIT was police trained to control and help. She told me that my son was not going to have any criminal records and he was going to be helped. While I was in the phone call with the 911 operator, and my son found out that I was calling the cops, he got hurt. He was very hurt because I called the police on him. And he started venting to his mother what he would do if the police were to show. He was only speaking out of anger. He was a good kid. He didn't have, as I say before, no criminal record, not even a traffic ticket, no warrants, no nothing. Well, I was on the phone still. A few minutes later, the cops showed. I was outside. For a minute, I was released thinking that, police came, they're going to help my son, and everything is going to be good. When I noticed the cops, turn around the corner, I also noticed my son started walking, towards to the main street. I was expecting them to come and try to talk to him, try to calm him down and force him to go to the doctor, but it didn't happen. He was walking on the sidewalk when he was shot once with a rubber bullet. Well, when he was too far away from them, there was no warnings, no verbal communication, nothing. When he felt that, cross the street to the middle, he was walking and he was shot 3 more times with rubber bullets. But then he stopped walking, and seconds, yes, a matter of seconds, less than 1 minute, they shot him fatally, killing him. Uh, when when I, saw my son falling, I was still with the operator. And seconds before they shot my son, I was asking her, begging her not to hurt my son. And I told her repeatedly that my son was a good boy and he was not going to hurt anyone. And she told me nobody's going to hurt your baby. And that fatal gunshots were fired by 2 police officers from 3 that were in the front. It was like 17 in the back. I think that was more police than that, but 17 are in the legal documents listed as being present at the moment of my son being murdered. After I saw my son falling, I ran trying to get to my son. One cop tried to stop me. He was not successful. I continued running, and I was stopped by one of the shooters. I know it was one of them because I could see that in his eyes. Um, his eyes were empty. I don't recall his face, but I would never forget his eyes. And I questioned him why he killed my son, and he told me that he was trying to kill, not to stop. I saw my son lying there, shocking with his own blood. He was handcuffed to the back, placed in his back position. He was moving one of his legs, trying to turn to the side a little bit to be able to breathe. He was coughing blood, and he was left there. Nobody tried to help him, and I couldn't help him. I just was seeing what was going on. Um, they called the paramedics. I cannot deny that they called the paramedics, and the paramedics came. But when the paramedics came, they were taken far away from my son, and they spent minutes talking to the investigator who was, in another area, far away from my son, until they made a decision to come and allowed paramedics to take care of my son. By then was too late. I saw my son taking his last breath there, with me not being able to help him, to comfort him. um, I was told a few minutes after, I noticed a struggle in one of the ambulances show that my son was alive. That was a surprise for me because I saw my son taking his last breath, but they said he was alive and they were going to take him to UMC. I tried to go to my house, and I was informed that I was not free to go back to my home. I was arrested. I got arrested. And I had to wait for one cop to escort me to come to my house and get dressed because I was in my pajamas, and I wanted to go and stay with my son. So they did that. The cop came with me whenever they had time. I came and I just quickly got into some clothes, and I went with him to the hospital. When we were in the car police, couple blocks before we arrived to UMC, the cop informed me that I was going to be free, release free in the hospital, and somebody was going to inform me about my son. I went into the hospital, and soon somebody came saying that he was the doctor and informed me that was nothing they could do to save my baby's life. When I was um, trying to digest those news, a cop came and asked me to sign a release for him to um, check my house. Somehow I was on the phone with one of my kids, who were telling me the cops were already inside the house, that they placed them in separate rooms, and they were questioning them. When the cop that was in front of me at UMC asked me to sign the paper, I asked him, why do you want me to sign the paper if you guys are already inside my house? And he very arrogant told me that it would take him only few minutes for him to make a phone call and get an authorization for him to walk into my house. So it didn't matter to him if I signed the paper or not, but he was giving me the opportunity to sign. I didn't know my rights. I signed the paper because I want them to be far away from me. I didn't want them on my face when I was trying to see my baby's body. Um, The body of my baby was in the hospital, but I got denied to see him. There were so many violations, performed to me and to my son, and I would like to talk about that. First of all, I asked for CIT. I didn't ask for regular police. One of the three cops I would have from was CIT. Even though no warnings were given to my son, he should have taken control of the situation, and he allowed the other two cops to take control of the situation and make a decision to kill my son. Um, that was a violation, number one, for my son. No warnings was another violation for my son. I didn't call for regular police. And once again, another violation for my son, that was the medical care who was intentionally delay. They make time waiting for my son to die because they knew my son was bleeding heavily. They knew he was suffering, and they didn't allow the medical personnel to come and help him. Even if it was 5 minutes, 7 minutes, it could be the difference between death and life. I trusted the system, and my life was destroyed for that. I lost my son, I got arrested, and I got denied justice. I cannot even retrieve my baby's belongings. I cannot have his clothes, the ones he died in, even if my case is closed already. Those are the reasons why I am in opposition of the bill SB 242, because the police has so many rights, so many privileges to kill, and we have nothing. We don't have the knowledge. We don't have assistance in any way. We don't have the mental support. We don't have nothing. 1 year of limitation for us to just go and try to sue the police department is not enough. How long it takes for the DA to give us, the decision that he makes always in favor of the cops. It takes months before he makes a decision. After that, we are not mentally prepared to deal with what happened, because all of us think it's not going to happen to me, my kids are good kids, it is not going to happen to me. So we don't know, we're not prepared for that. And I don't think that any or a daughter or son is prepared to deal with that. So mentally, we are not prepared. Another issue that we face is finding a lawyer who is willing to fight the system, because they are afraid. They are afraid, and we are unable to retrieve paper on our own. We are unable to retrieve videos. I feel sorry for all those victims who relatives were not present. I was present. I know how much they lied. I know how much they cover. They cannot come and tell me what really happened in my son's case. They lie so much. They say that my son was wielding a knife against them and they were afraid of for them lives. I can tell you I was there and my son was only walking. He didn't even have the knife at the moment he was encountered. I have a witness. I was a witness of that. And whatever I said was not even taken in consideration. Whatever the story from the cops came saying that their life was in danger was taken, and the decision was made based on them statements, not in the reality of the statement. How dare can they come and do their own investigation? It's like telling you go in your own house and find any problems and make them public and own kids. You are not going to do it. We need somebody private to come and see what really happened to our loved ones. I really support the new bill, the AB3, who is going in the right direction. The only question that I have, is beside that, we could improve and you can get, maybe some information from all the victims and see what we would like to see in that bill. My main question is, what are you going to do? What consequences they are going to face, the police department is going to face? I would like to know what they were going to pay for what they do. It is very important for me. I just want to tell you that my son Rafael was a wonderful kid. I want to remind you that I carry him in my body for 9 months, and I raised him for long 23 years. I have so many satisfactions. I have so much love. I have so much hope. And all of that was taken away from me for trusting the system. My life is empty. I don't live, I exist. And I've been trying to fight a system that is corrupted and is not in the favor of civilians. And I'm tired to seeing another victim and another victim and another victim, adding to my my club or my new family. That's the reason why I'm begging you to think about this new bill and make it fair for the people that you guys supposed to protect. Hi again, this is Alma Chavez, and I would like to speak about the benefits that I'm finding in the bill SB3. Um, but I would like to emphasize that the use of the shackle, all shackle should be um, deleted, because I don't think that it should be used. It shouldn't be used at all. It doesn't matter what the cops use. If they use shackles, use tasers, use guns, they kill. So using them body to control somebody, I don't think that is going to make a difference. So it should be avoid 100%. Um, Another thing that I would like to speak about the AB3 is about the alcohol test in the cops. After they kill somebody, they should be tested for drugs or alcohol. Um, has been so many incidents in the ones the cops were in bars and restaurants while they supposed to be working, and they just respond to the calls. It happened with my son. These cops were having breakfast with one of the CITs and the other two that came to the front line to take care of my son. They were having breakfast while they should have been, working. If they have alcohol there or not, I don't know. I don't know where they were, but they were not working. So they should have been tested, and all cops should be tested. I work for the system, and if we have a car accident, we must be tested. So I don't see why they always have to be above the law. Um, I also would like to speak about the data collection. It's very important for us because we would like to know which races they're targeting, which areas they're targeting, if they're being racist or what they're after. It's super important for us. Training. We've been saying that over and over and over. The training that they have, 48 hours, is not enough. They need to learn how to control, not how to kill. There's so many lives could have been saved, and maybe so many lives are going to be saved if we emphasize in the training. Not everybody is a criminal. In the case of my son, it was 3 cops in the front. In record, 17 in the back. My son was 110 pounds. They were armed. They had protection. They had the guns out at the moment they encountered my son, and they couldn't wait. They killed my son far away. They say around 30 feet. I know was more than that. Was more than that. So training is super important. They need to, learn how to de-escalate situations. If they are afraid of them lives, they're in the wrong job. And I'm going to say that over and over and over. If that many cops, arms to the teeth, were afraid of my son, they are in the wrong job. Excessive force, the mattress excessive force, when it should be used, it should be used when the person really is a danger person for them. They're being killing people just because, oh, I thought he was going to grab a gun and they just had the phone. Oh, I confused the hat for a gun. In the case of my son, yes, he walked out with a knife and they knew it because I told them that he walked out with a knife. They were observing him from far away minutes before they decided to confront him. It was not a surprise for them that he had a knife. They should have been prepared to deal with it. And they didn't. They didn't even attempt to talk to him, even though I'm going to say that again and again, he didn't have the knife in his hand at the moment that he was killed. They know it, and I know it, even if they say the opposite. Um, I think that this is a very good bill. Once again, I have a question. I would like to know what is going to happen to the police when they break what this bill is ordering if it passes. I would like to know what are going to be their consequences for the police who trespass this bill. Thank you, and I hope you guys once again make the right decision and give us the right answers.